I think the most fairest thing to do is to not. I'm not trying to say exclude them, but to put them in their own league so they can match up equally. That's all I'm trying to say.
The Negro leagues.
No, it's different, bro. You gotta get this shit through your head. It's fucking different, my nigga. It's fucking black and white versus man and female. It's two different things, bro.
He's saying the comparison is similar.
It's not. And if you believe that, Putra, you're bugging too. This has nothing to do with it, but it's kind of sad. Just a real quick question. Do you think trans people need to have their own sports?
Well, let's just rock out because this is going long.
All right, I'll say
no. Sorry. No. I'm saying let's forget.
Okay, all right. You just
the
continue
other
on
conversation. Let's keep going. If you think.
Do you think trans people should be in their own league? Like a man transitioning to a woman shouldn't play in women's sports. They should have their own sport league.
There's a question that there should be 4 leagues.
Yeah.
There's the men league, the women league, and then the trans women and the trans men league.
Yeah. To make it fair and equal.
I think that's instead of doing what you wanted to do, fair and equal, it's just excluding them from enjoying something. Basically, there's such a small percentage of the country, you're not going to be able to find enough people to even make a team of these people. You know what I mean? It's just not, they're not enough of the percentage.
So you wanted it to be fair and equal then for them to compete.
I think as long as you're not playing professional sports, I don't think it really matters. Or like, you know what I mean? I think if it's a kids league, I think boys and girls should be able to play together, no issues. And I think gay kids and trans kids should be able to play with the boys and the girls. Just like
remove kids. Let's talk teenagers and adults.
Fine.
High school basketball, volleyball.
Teenagers.
Yeah, I think teenagers are kids.
Okay.
Yeah.
So then go with adults. Golf or not golf. Golf, bowling, boxing, MMA, basketball, football, all this shit. You're saying that it should be equal and fair to, for them to be able to play sports in a different gender role, right? Like they should. Yeah. So is it not fair for that gender to play with their gender role? Like if a man transitions to a woman and then goes and plays basketball, do you think it's fair for a woman to be able to play with only women instead of a man who transitioned to a woman? Because he's going to have a physical attribute that's not equal to theirs.
Once again, it's such a small percentage that it's not going to make a difference.
It makes a huge difference though.
It's not going to make a difference in like as far as what they're going to win
attributes.
They're going to win an award. And then
physical attributes is the biggest difference between a man and a woman.
Okay, so they're going to win an award, and then what's going to happen? What's the worst thing that comes from them winning an award?
You're beating somebody who's the number 1 ranked in basketball, then you bring this person in, or not person, you bring this trans woman in who's going to dominate this person and destroy whatever records they hold or whatever a way for them to advance because she's just dominating.
I think you're taking the most extreme version of that. I don't think that's always the what's happening. You're taking the South Park approach of Macho Man Randy Savage identifying as a woman later in his life and then destroying the competition.
I'll change it again for you then. Usain Bolt says, I'm transitioning to a woman, joins the track women's competition league, blows them all out of the water. None of those girls get gold in the Olympic trials or whatever they do. You think
I don't think things like that are actually happening. Like as much as people think, like it's not going to be like a huge issue.
It's happening in MMA. These things are actually happening.
You have like
one wrestling sports. It has
story.
It has happened. But if this is where are the trans like champions? Right? Where are they?
That's what I'm saying. There should be.
They should be on the fucking NBA floor.
I'm just saying that it's not really happening, right?
It's happening in a low level. Yeah, it's not in headlines right now. It's not like
it's not in headlines. You would expect to see more trans people at the top of the women's sports by your argument, right?
Yeah, I mean, if I go do some more research, obviously this question just came out to me right now during the pod. But if I go and do research, I could probably pull a whole bunch of
You
actual.
think you think you're gonna find a lot of a lot of trans women dominating in women's sports? Really think about what you're saying. You think you're gonna find a lot of
You're gonna
trans
find
women.
enough to make a statement. Yeah, I mean, 'cause there's still pushback on them joining certain leagues. There's still a lot of pushback on joining certain leagues. My thing is just like we should let them be able to transition, and they should be able to play the sports they transition to, and they transition to, but only play with those transition people, just to make it fair and equal. That's all I'm saying.
I don't think that's fair and equal, but
That's not. Yeah.
we've already had this conversation in the past. I'm again of two minds on this, right? I do agree that especially people that transition that transition later in life are gonna have some biological advantages over women. Like Tony said, if Usain Bolt decided to transition, Usain Bolt would be, if not the best, at the top of the women's runners. If Usain Bolt was still in his prime or whatever. I don't know what the situation is with his health or whatever, but and I don't think that's good.
Or fair, right? For the woman in that sport, if Usain goes and does that. Like, I'm pretty sure Usain.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I don't think it's fair. I don't think that's a good outcome.
I also don't think that's happening though.
Yeah, but you guys are having two different conversations. Tony's asking, what do you think if this should be allowed or not? And you're saying this isn't even a big issue. Like, and I agree. I think the conservatives are making a mountain out of a molehill, right? So I think it's a tiny issue. People are making it out to be this gigantic issue. Like, I 100% agree with that. But then just on the conversation itself, do we think it should be allowed? I personally think that. Sorry. I was scrolling through Twitter and the most insane shit just came across my feed. I don't think that I don't think it's fair that if somebody transitions in general, I'm sure there's cases that people are going to transition and be way worse than your average woman in a given sport or something. But I think in general, there's going to be certain advantages that people that transition late in life are going to have over women. And it's probably not fair. Now, then there's a whole conversation. We've kind of had this conversation about what is fair in sports, right? Where I was saying that sports are already not fair. And splitting sports up between men and women is already arbitrary. Like, there was that one Olympic wrestler that she was so good, they told her she couldn't even compete with women anymore, but she was a woman. And it's like, is that fair? Like, should she have to go compete with men? Is it fair that she's so much stronger than women that she's just going to dominate them all? Is that fair to the other women? You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. It's a difficult conversation. I feel like trans people introduce just more thinking into how we split up sports. And I think sports need to be split up in a different way.
All sports or certain sports?
Probably all sports. But, I mean, I'm sure there's sports like... I don't know. I don't know enough about all sports to make that claim. I'm sure there's a sport that's not gendered, where men and women compete against each other, and those sports, sure, trans people could jump right in as is and just keep competing away.
Kickball, right?
I don't know. I would think that would be gendered.
I would say anything like physical-wise, like boxing.
But everything is
MMA.
physical.
Well,
even male chess players are better than women chess players. Why? I don't know.
Because there's
right?
not a lot of women that play it, and maybe I don't know.
I don't know, but I I'm pretty sure there's like men's chess and women's chess. And I know there are situations where men and women compete against each other in chess, but I think in general men play chess better than women for whatever reason. I don't know if it's something that has inherently to do with being a man, or if it's like you said there's just not enough women, or women aren't encouraged enough to play chess from a young age or whatever. But
I think that's BS. I think board games is like, oh no, chess and stuff like that sex shouldn't really play a role in that. I mean, it's no physical thing. It's more of a mental thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you would think, but if you see across the board men are better than women, do you not separate that? Because that's probably what happened with basketball and all these other sports, right? Like,
nah, that's different. I wouldn't try to compare chess and basketball when it comes to male and female playing against each other. It's different, sure.
well, they're not the same. That's why you compare them. I don't know. I'm not sure what you're.
Because you were trying to say.
I'm saying that you're saying there shouldn't be any. We shouldn't treat them different for chess because you're trying to say chess is just of the mind. I'm saying that if across the board men are just better than women at chess, should we not consider splitting that sport up? Just like we did with basketball, where across the board men are just better than women at basketball?
No.
You're saying don't split it up, just let women never
there's just
succeed.
not enough. There's not enough women playing chess. I think
What
that's
do you mean?
why.
There's women chess right now. I don't know what you're talking about.
I know. I'm just going off of what you said. You're saying there's way more men playing chess and being better at it than women.
I didn't say that. I didn't say. Sorry.
Okay.
I didn't say there are more male players at chess. I'm saying that I believe that men are better than women in chess, in general. And you're saying, nah, that's BS. Chess is. My point is, you're just cutting it at the physical sports, and I'm saying that there may be other differences between men and women that could go to our minds or something. And I'm saying no sports are off limits to split. Is all I'm saying. My whole point is, wherever men and women compete, trans people could jump right in and start competing immediately. Wherever the sports are split, I think some thought in general needs to be taken. Whether like there's probably men and women like billiards or something. Maybe they don't compete against each other. Maybe it's not a big deal for trans people there. I know, like in weightlifting, in particular, trans women have it like there's documented advantages over cis women. But if they only competed with men, they would be worse than men on average. And if you just said no, have your trans sport only, a trans category, then you're doing two things. One, the whole idea behind transitioning is to transition to that thing. To split them off and say no, you're trans is to say that you don't accept them as the gender that they're trying to transition to. You're separating them off. I personally think that we need to rethink how we do sports. I don't think that splitting along gender lines is granular enough for the world we're marching towards.
Then maybe get rid of sports, because I do not see a world where you're gonna have men and transitioning women, men transitioning to a woman be fighting an actual woman in sports. Like that is super unfair. I don't care how many hormone pills or whatever pills you take to try to lessen the chemical. It's just like there's no way that's fair.
You're saying there's no other way that we could split sports up besides whether you have a vagina or a penis.
No, there's no way we could split sports to where transition groups of people can play sports with the people they transition to. Like basketball, football, like them type of soccer, them type of sports and stuff like that. I don't think there's no way they'll be able to play and it'd be fair for both parties.
Yeah, And I said I don't disagree with that.
And
I'm
they
saying
should,
we need to split the sports up differently so that
yeah,
it would
a
be fair.
trans league, and
No, that's not what I'm saying.
You don't think that's
I'm
right?
saying, let's say there was a test that said, this is your peak capability.
or
right?
like a minimum type
Let's
thing.
just say there's some brain scan you could do, and you could go, you will be an S tier basketball player. You will be an S, you will be A minus, and maybe there's some women that fall in those upper categories. Yeah, maybe those women could go play with the best NBA players, 1 or 2 or 3 women or whatever. Maybe a couple trans people go that way, and then like think boxing, right? Boxing split between men and women, but that's not the only place we draw the line. We draw the line on weight too. The sport is split up by weight classes, so it's like we're finding other advantages within the sport that people have. You can't put somebody who's 250 pounds to fight somebody who's 110 pounds. That we agree that would be an unfair fight, even though they both have penises. Like, it's no different to find other things to split the sports on. I don't think transness is the thing that we should split it on. I think that would be excluding trans people. By definition, it would be. This is like having a black sport. Like, you're just going to say...
They used to...
And they used to do that, right?
Yeah,
like,
the
just
Negro
say,
leagues.
you can have your own league. We don't want black people in our league.
We don't want black. It's in the same thought process, which is why I think it's so hateful, and so it is of the same thought process.
All right, let me clarify.
I'm just saying the Nazis did it to the Jews.
I understand
the
that.
white people did it to the blacks and the natives and the Asians. It's of the same.
I understand
mind
that.
frame.
Let me clarify what I'm saying. I am not comparing race with sex transitioning as the same thing. They're not. It's completely fucking different.
It's
Blacks
the same.
not playing with whites is not the same as guys playing with girls. It's very fucking different.
I don't think it's the same, Joey. I think you're like minimizing like what the I don't know, maybe minimizing is not the right word, but I think I don't
I'm
think
sure
it's
the
the
NBA had a lot of reasons to not want black people, and the MLB when they excluded them from there. I think
they're racist.
We know that the reason was racism. Just straight up.
But they made their excuses though. They had their reasons.
Yeah,
but
they're liars,
but we can
but it was-
acknowledge that it's BS and it's just racism, right?
That's the way I feel about this. I think it's just
So you
the
don't
same.
think that people have any valid reasons? So you just think I'm transphobic?
No. I'm not saying it like that. I'm saying that the people
Because
that
that's what it sounds like you're saying. Because I'm saying that I think that there are advantages that people have, and playing the sport like that, I don't think is good, right? That's my opinion. I don't hate trans people, right? I'm saying we should revamp sports in such a way where trans people aren't excluded, right? That's my actual belief. But as sports are right now, I think trans women in general have advantages over cis women. I don't think that's fair.
But
I don't think
agreed
I'm making that
earlier.
argument because I'm transphobic, but the black and white leagues being separate were purely racism. Even though they probably had a bunch of BS reasons, the motivating factor was racism. Right?
Yeah. And you also agreed earlier that you believe that it's also unfair for a transition woman to be in a league with women.
I don't think Joey agreed to
So
that.
he agreed with it. He agreed with it. He said that because I asked him, I was like, "Do you think it's fair that a transition woman should be able to be playing with I'm not going to say regular, with a woman in these leagues? Do you think that's fair?" He said, "No, it's not fair." Because I was saying that it should be fair and equal to all parties.
I think you can easily make it fair without having to exclude trans people. I don't think you have to exclude trans people to make anything fair. I think you can make it as fair as you want it to.
I think it's
I
fair
just think
now.
you need
with
to stop
men.
looking at sex.
You have to, though. When it comes to sports, you have to.
I don't think so.
It's a physical attribute.
But why do you think it's fair now?
I was going to get there. So right now,
Well, I'm asking you.
yeah. So right now, men NBA, women NBA, it's fair right now because of attribute wise.
But it's not.
Now, why is it not fair?
Because men have different attributes from each other within, sometimes a bigger difference than even men and women.
So
Muggsy Bogues is closer to a woman in physical attributes than he is to LeBron James.
Muggsy Bogues goes to the women league and he would destroy any woman on that league.
I don't care, but we're talking about the differences of their physical attributes. I'm saying Muggsy Bogues is closer to a woman in physical stature than he is to LeBron James.
Yes, there is going to be a physical difference in the men's league, just the same as the women's league. There's going to be different physical abilities for both parties. But I'm saying the smallest male or attribute male that's considered like the closest to a woman, he's going to dominate in that league. He has an unfair advantage. He does.
I honestly don't. Other than like, what did you watch Juwanna Man recently? I don't think this is happening, bro. And until we see some proof of it happening, I don't think it's gonna happen.
I'm not saying it happened in basketball. I don't think that's.
I'm just saying. I think what you're saying in like your main criticism is like the Juwanna Man or the South Park thing where it's an extreme, and I just don't think that there's that many extreme things happening. Personally,
I don't think there's a huge abundance of this is happening. I'm saying it has happened, and I'm saying what's fair. Do you think this is fair? And I don't think it's fair for both parties. That's all I'm saying. Is there 1,000 cases of this happening? Probably not. I agree with you on that. Like he said, it's a little hill versus a mountain. Yes, I don't think that's happening. But is it fair? And I'm saying it's not fair.
It's not fair to exclude them, though, for sure.
Yeah.
That's definitely not fair.
Maybe you could say that. Yeah. I think that, and when I say maybe, it says I think that I think the most fairest thing to do is to not, I'm not trying to say exclude them, but to put them in their own league so they can match up equally. That's all I'm trying to say.
The Negro leagues.
No, it's different, bro. You gotta get this shit through your head. It's fucking different, my nigga. It's fucking black and white versus man and female. It's two different things, bro.
Yeah, of course they're different, Tony.
He's confused though. He keeps bringing up
he's
like
not
he
confused. He's saying the
100%.
comparison is similar.
It's not. And if you believe that, Pucho, you're bugging too.
I'm not saying that. Okay. You're bugging because people can't compare things that are, it's not the same. Obviously, it's not the same. If it was the same, it would be the same. Nobody's ever comparing things to say they're the same. They're comparing them to say it's analogous, meaning it's a similar type of deal going on. Is what he's saying.
Yeah, and I'm trying to tell him it's not.
Yeah, that's fine, but don't sit there and say it's not the same. That's not what he's saying. Like,
Double, you know it's not, right?
I'm not saying it's the same thing. I'm saying there's similarities.
What similarities?
And I agree. There are similarities between just saying, let's split trans people up in sports versus saying, let's split black people up in sports. I think the difference
excluding part is what you're saying. That's the same. Right? You're talking about the excluding part. You're excluding the mixed races playing.
Of course.
And okay. That's a good stand on. But to say that race and transitioning thing is the equal part is not.
Nobody's saying they're equal. What does that mean?
I think that's what Doughboy is saying. When he says similarities.
You think the color of you think his opinion is the color of your skin is the same as wanting to be a different gender? Those are the two same things?
That's what he's saying.
Then no, I think you're crazy. There's no way he's saying
rewind on this.
What does that even mean?
He literally, you even questioned him. He's saying that, I think it's the same thing that when the blacks and whites or when the Negro leagues came up, because the white people didn't want them to play. It's the same as the people not want to let transition. But
the same motivations, saying hatefulness.
I think
people hate trans people. They want to exclude them. People hate black people. They want to exclude them. That's his claim.
And
Exactly.
He's saying that they came up with their reasons to justify it, but the real reason was hatefulness. That's what he's saying. I don't know how you're confused.
I don't think that's not what I'm saying, first off, and I don't think that's what's being said. That they're trying to exclude the transition people from playing the sports that they transition to is like a hate thing. No, it's like it's a fair thing. It's not fair for a transition woman playing a women's league in certain.
I think for a lot of people, it's a hate thing.
That sucks because I'm not coming from a hateful place with this.
I agree with you.
Yeah,
The hell
I
you
know.
talking? I'm not
just
coming from a
clarifying.
hateful place.
I'm
I just said for a lot of people. What do you mean? That's sad?
No, it's sad that people want to hate on them. I don't care if you transition for
you were
this reason.
saying that me thinking a lot of people are this is coming from a hateful place is that sad or wow, I don't know.
No, it's sad on those people for hating on these people that are transitioning. I'm saying I'm not doing that. I'm saying that it needs to be fair equally. That's it. That's all I'm trying to say. And yeah,
You know what sucks is that the election is right around the corner, and all this shit seems to be bubbling up, and it just seems like this shit's gonna get worse. If you ask me, this whole pride shit, it looks like the Republican Party is trying to ramp up one against immigrants, against gays, against trans. I think that's gonna be their whole thing for this next election. Because look at Ron DeSantis, you know what I mean? You can't do shit. Everything with gay is, he says there's a whole woke agenda. You got a whole bunch of people who love and believe this guy, and it's toxic, bro. It's a really shitty way of thinking.
bro, I can't even go down Florida or Miami, and talk bad about that man. Because the Cuban community would destroy you. I don't know what it is. Cubans
Come
love
mierdas.
that man, bro.
Come mierdas.
They love him. But
Yeah,
yeah, back to
The same people that want to keep the gay stuff out of kids shows and trans stuff out of kids shows. It's the same people.
What do you mean kids shows?
Come-
Like
come
movies and
come
cartoons? Is what
mierda,
you're saying?
yeah. Yep. Oh, they said they, them in a cartoon. Oh, leave it out of the kids. The kids.
I'm not gonna lie.
Think
At
about
first,
the
it threw me
kids.
off. At first, it threw me off. I was like, "Oh shit!" Like, I didn't even know this got to kid cartoons. It threw me off real quick.
Same thing. It's
I'm
the
not,
same
I'm
thing
not
as
hating on it or anything, but it's
the
just
same
like,
thing as Spanish and black people not having representation in Hollywood, and it's the same line of thinking. It's the same
For
way.
this, I agree. It is the same line of thinking.
It's the same line
Like
of thinking.
people be
bro.
like,
I
"Oh,
agree with
there
that.
can't be gay character. Why is there a gay character in everything? Now?
oh, it's everything is so woke.
There's gay people everywhere. What do you mean?
Yeah.
I don't know.
This shit is so whack.
People are just again. There's a heteronormativity, and if you're different than that, people notice. People don't ask why are there straight couples in everything, or people stopped asking. I take it back. People still ask why if there's too many black characters or too many Hispanic characters. People get upset about it because they're like, this movie's too woke. You ever see people be like, oh, there's a black lead actor? Oh, that's a woke movie. It's like, damn, you can't even have a black actor in a movie without being labeled woke.
I'd still get shocked that people are still in, like, perfect example, Little Mermaid. They didn't even keep the white horse. It's a black horse. I'm like, really, bro? Like, we really gonna argue? Like, that to me, I find still to this day fucking crazy, bro. That we're just changing the color of a character and it ruins the whole movie for somebody. Yeah, I mean, how bad would it be for people if there was an uproar like the Aladdin movie or the Lion King? It would be two fucking lions instead of lioness. Is it? I don't know. Two male cats and then instead of two girl cats or whatever. Like, could you imagine what uproar that would cause? I don't like people will find the little things and just flip it and go crazy with it. But, and most of all this is Pucho and Do is that we grew up in that era too, with the whole same sex or not same sex, male and female being raised together, having kids. That we grew up in that.
Yeah. But it's called not
Now,
having arrested development and evolving and becoming a better person and not having hatred towards other people. It's about becoming a better person, and holding other people back from doing shit, to me, has just those vibes.
yeah, and the younger generation after us is what's going to change that going forward. I think it's mostly our generation, and maybe the generation right after us have that still mindset. But our kids, that line, that it'll bleed all that out. At some point, it will just be like nothing to think about. It's definitely a transition for people to just come around. Some people will never come around; they'll be just ignorant. It's sad, you know what I mean? But yeah, ladies and gentlemen, if you stuck with us through this entirety of this episode, or love what we're saying and how we're approaching it, or there's different comments or whatever, just please like, share, comment, and as always, man, go one up yourself. Life's changing, things are changing in this world. Try to better yourself as a human being. Peace.